What's good with y'all, man? It's Noble. Today I'm going to be showing y'all my in-depth process behind making samples for Lil Uzi Vert. I'm going to break down the sample I made from scratch. Yeah, without further ado, let's get straight into the video. Alright, so before I deconstruct it, this is what the final sample sounds like. Crazy. Alright, so going forward, you can hear everything 4 semitones up since I use a sound shifter on the master. And as usual, I also have the BK Master Deck Classic and the gentle modulation on Sketch Cassette. The first sound in this sample is a plug from my upcoming one-shot kit called AURORA. For effects here, I'm pretty much just trying to give it a subtle amount of reverb and delay. So I'm using plugins such as Tall Reverb, Crystallizer, Guitar Rig 6 with the Creamy Snowflakes preset, and even a little bit of distortion to give it some more body. From here I went to Serum and I chose a preset called Respace. Now it might not make sense why I'm doing the bass so early on in the sample, but I'm gonna show you real quick. The fact that the plug didn't actually have any chords at this point, it just had top notes, made it so that I could choose whatever bass notes I wanted here as long as they were in the scale. For example, this would have worked. Or this. But this is the final pattern that I went with. The next sound I use is a pluck from my Cadence one-shot kit that I turned into an ARP. It's called Daydreaming. This is what the MIDI looks like. You can tell that I'm using velocity a lot. So to make ARPs like this is actually really easy. For example, here I'm really only using B, D, and F sharp. And then you basically just want to create these velocity sweeps. So with the other two sounds so far, you get this. So from here I added a sine wave lead from Serum. It's just called Basic. And with the lead, what I'm trying to do is complement the first couple aspects without overcomplicating what I already have down. You really want each layer to serve as a complement to the other layers. You don't want sounds to be overlapping in parts where they don't sound good. For example, at the end of the pattern here we have a decrescendo, whereas in the ARP pattern it's a crescendo. So that way they complement each other without doing too much. The effects on the lead are pretty similar to the plucks. I just also have this delay. Next thing I have here is these 2 accents from my unreleased AURORA one-shot kit. What they're basically doing is a call and response. For effects, they just have a bunch of reverb, including this Vaha that I automated here. For context, this is what everything sounded like so far. I took this pluck from Serum called Frozen. I basically just copied the top notes from the first pluck and added some chords underneath it. And then after I added effects, it pretty much just became a texture. From here I went to one of Pipe's Serum banks and I found this lead called Favorite Lead. The effect chain I'm using here is the same effect chain I use for vocal chops. The most important things to remember are the default preset on tremolator, an EQ to cut both the lows and the highs, and a bunch of reverbs. The last sound in this sample is a pluck called Redux, and it's also from Serum. If you look at the MIDI, you can see that I had to use these automations down here. Some plugins actually let the velocity knob affect different things. For example, if you're using a flute VST, the velocity knob may actually affect the breath control or something other than the volume. So if you ever notice that but you still want to have some kind of volume change, just come down here and use the channel volume. The only effect here that I hadn't used yet in the sample is a like water preset in Portal. And the more ambient you want to sound, the more you should turn the stereo separation up. So from here, I knew I wanted to pitch the sample down, but I wanted to do it in a different FLP. So that way in the new FLP, I could just add the bass on a different MIDI. So I just exported the sample at the original pitch without the bass. Added the same bass MIDI in the new FLP, pitched everything down 400, and got this. That's gonna be bad for the video, y'all. Hope you enjoyed. Like I showed in this video, I got a one-shot kit on the way called Aurora. Make sure y'all ready for that. And yeah, go follow my Instagram at proud.noble. I'm gonna go ahead and play beat and made with the sample now, so I'm out of here.
Yeah, let's go. Better and better I get. I'm straight up, I'm back on my shit. My belly got dirty, I don't give a shit. Got back up and kept taking hits, yeah. I'll keep you in mind if I need, but I doubt it, you'd rather just leave. To be honest, I feel it is better. Knew she was up from the day that I met her.